What's good, you guys? It's your girl Tracy and I am back again with another video. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how I customize my closure wigs to look like a frontal. I picked up some steps over the years, things that I like and dislike about bleaching my knots. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to show you guys how I bleach my knots and how I pluck my closure wigs. Stay tuned if you guys are interested. We're going to hook this wig up, okay? But before we get into the video, if you guys are not subscribed to my channel already, please don't forget to subscribe. Please like this video and comment any new ideas you have for me. And with that being said, let's get right into this video. So first and foremost, I just want to show you guys how the wig is looking now. If you guys can look closely, you can see a bunch of little dots. Those are all knots, okay? That's what we're trying to get rid of. So the plan is to lighten it a little bit so it can kind of be my skin color so that it will look like scalp instead of those little dots that you see now. So today we are going to use powder lightener and 50 volume developer. I will recommend using about 30 volume developer. 30 volume developer is a little bit slower. So if you put 10 volume developer and lightener together, the lightening process will be extremely slow. But 50 volume developer and powder lightener, it will be extremely fast. So I'll say if you are new, try to be around the middle, which will be 30 volume developer and lightener. So starting off, I like to use just a little bit of developer and 1 little spoonful of powder lightener. So remember, you do not want the consistency to be super thick, but at the same time, you don't want it to be super watery. It's better for the consistency to be too thick and you add a little bit of developer than having it too watery and having to keep adding powder lightener. Because honestly, for a closure wig, even a frontal wig, you do not need that much product. So as you guys can see here, it's too thick. I add a little bit more developer to lighten up the consistency. I would say the best consistency you can have is a toothpaste consistency. One that is thick, but not too thick because you want it to still go through the lace a little bit. But you don't want it to be too watery because first of all, you will not be able to control it. It will just be going everywhere. And second off, it will bleed through the lace way too much. As you guys can see, the lightener is not falling off of my brush. It's very thick where it's not falling off, but at the same time, it will easily push through the lace. So now we're doing the first layer onto the lace. It looks like I'm pushing hard, but I am not pushing hard at all. The first layer, you want it to be very, very light. Our main thing right now is just putting the lightener on there. I am not even trying to push it for the lightener to go through. Now I'm going to flip the wig over and see how much went through. If you guys can look very closely, you can still see the very little dots. All of those dots we want to get rid of. Every dot you see is not going to be lightened. When you rinse this lightener off, you will still see all the knots, and we do not want that. So now we're going to turn it back around. We're going to add a little bit more pressure, not too much, a very small amount of pressure, just so it can bleed through a little bit more. As you guys can see here, I'm pushing just a little bit harder, but it looks like I'm pushing very hard, but I'm not, you guys. Just add a little bit more pressure so that the lightener can bleed through a little bit and only cover those little dark balls. Now I'm going to check it and see if all the dots are covered. For every dot that's not covered, it's not going to be lightened. Now remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can still have a couple little dots there, but just make sure most of it is covered. I like to make sure that I focus on the front because the front is the most important part to me. So if you guys can look closely, you don't see any dots at all. Now it has been about 10 minutes. I'm just checking it to see if I see a brown hue. And I think I kind of see a brown hue. I'm going to wait about 2 more minutes and come back and check it one more time. If you are using 30 volume developer, you might have to wait a little bit longer than 10 minutes, which is fine. It's better to be safe than sorry. Now I can really see the brown hue, so I know that it is about my skin color. I don't want to lighten it too much because I am dark skinned, so it wouldn't make sense for me to lighten it a lot and then have to go back and darken it a little bit. So you kind of look at the roots, it kind of has like a brown tint, if that makes any sense. Now I rinsed it off. I did not use Shimmering Lights, the purple shampoo. I did not use that at all. I just used regular shampoo because to me, I feel like when I use the purple shampoo, my lace kind of turns gray. It has like a gray tint to it that I hate. So I like to just use regular shampoo and then put makeup on my lace if my lace isn't matching my skin color. If you guys can see the before and after, it is blending into my skin way more. The hue is kind of the color of my skin. That tint is definitely the color of my skin. So I don't need to do anything else to that. And I will literally just add makeup to the lace so the lace can blend into my skin. But you see how you don't see any more little dots, so it just looks like it's growing right out of the lace. Now I'm going to push the hair back very taut. Make sure it's nice and smooth. All the hair pushed backwards. So for the first row, my camera turned off and I didn't realize it. So I did the first row. But if you guys can kind of see, I kind of skip a space. I plucked and skip a space, plucked and skip a space, plucked and skip a space. You want to make sure that you have that pattern. It will be very important for the next step. So now you're going to take this entire section off as far back as you plucked. So I'm going to take this entire section off. And make sure you push it forward. And comb back the rest of the hair. So for this part, it's kind of hard to see. For every space that I plucked previously, I'm not going to pluck. And for every space that I did pluck, I won't pluck. If that kind of makes any sense. So this is called the brick lay method. So to show you a little bit, I didn't pluck this section in the first row, so I'm plucking right above it. And I did pluck this section, so I'm not going to pluck above it. I'm going to pluck next to it, if that kind of makes any sense. So in the first row, wherever you did pluck, right above it, you will not pluck. And you move to the side a little bit where you didn't pluck. And in the second row, you will pluck. It's kind of hard to see and explain, but in the next row, it will be a lot easier to see. Okay, so now I'm going to section this side off once again. Now I am on my third section. I like to do about 3 to 4 sections. If my wig is super full, I might do 5 sections, but I try not to go over 5 because I don't want to over pluck my wigs. So it's kind of easy to see now. I'm plucking right above all the thick sections. I pluck here, so I'm not going to pluck right above it. I didn't pluck here, so I'm going to pluck right above it. if that kind of makes any sense. So I'm plucking right over the section that I didn't pluck in the first row. It doesn't have to be perfect, but this way just helps you to not over pluck your wig, like over pluck one section. It kind of gives you a guideline so you're not plucking too much in one section. Just try and follow that method the best you can. So this wig is kind of full, not too full, but just a little bit full. So I am going to do one more row. I am going to do a fourth row really quickly. Push the hair forward and push the rest back. I honestly didn't really have to do a fourth row, but it still came out really nice. Now I'm on my fourth row. Okay, now that I am done, I'm going to push all the hair back. I'm going to be wearing a middle part, so I like to kind of part it in the middle and let the hair fall where it normally would fall to see how it would look. For me, I like to see those streaks, like those lines in my lace. So I'm just going to touch it up just a little bit and pluck diagonally just to make those lines. Now I am plucking very, very, very lightly. I'm not plucking hard at all because you do not want to over pluck. I just want to see those lines that I'm making so it look a little bit more natural, but I am not putting pressure at all. Like I am just lightly plucking. You can actually skip this step. This is just a step I like to do. It just helps my lace look a lot more natural, but you really don't have to do this step. Now I'm going to take a very, very, very small section and push it forward. And this will be used as my baby hairs. But if you do not like baby hairs, you will still take this very small section, but you will pluck this entire section off. You don't want to see any straight lines on your lace. Plucking this little section off will give you a much, much more natural look if you're wearing no baby hairs. But I want baby hairs, so I'm not going to do that. If you want your baby hairs to be a little bit more, you can always add more hair. Take a bigger section and use as your baby hairs. But I think this is enough for baby hairs. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the complete look. And also let me know if you guys want me to do this on a frontal wig. And I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.